Professional wrestling is a cruel business, and it's also a very volatile business. One moment you could be the main event champion and the top guy, the next moment you're a jobber. In today's video, we're going to be discussing various wrestlers who came and went from the WWE and for whatever reason just never fit in within the WWE system. From wrestlers who were fired the same year they were signed, to wrestlers who were fired without a single win, to wrestlers who were signed by accident. What's up guys, it's Top 10 Wrestling here and welcome to the WWE Rejects. Before we begin, I've got a big announcement coming up, so all I ask is that you go and subscribe to this channel on screen and links down below. It's a big announcement, I can't wait to get it done, and yeah, on with the video. Wrestling for a while. She was trained by Lance Storm and debuted in 2010 and began wrestling across the American and Mexican wrestling scenes, becoming a stalwart for women's wrestling in both of the scenes. She's mostly known for having the longest Impact Knockouts Championship reign in the company's history, and as well as that, she's a 5-time AAA Reina de Reinas champion and one of their greatest women's wrestlers, and also had a very solid run with Lucha Underground. In the 2010s, Taya Valkyrie essentially completed indie wrestling. She had nothing left to do in her wrestling career other than signing for a major company, and in 2021, that's exactly what she would do. And she would debut in April 2021 for the NXT brand under the new name of Frankie Monet. Taya Valkyrie, definitely a much and way better name. She would go on to score wins against Elektra Lopez, Cora Jade, and then JC Jane, before she got a championship match on the September 28th episode of NXT 2.0 against reigning champion Raquel Gonzalez. My word, what a dark time. Frankie Monet was unsuccessful in her title match, but it was a good match and it seemed as though she was fitting in NXT and was here to stay, but apparently we would be wrong. The next week she would face Cora Jade in a losing effort, and this would end up being her final ever match for the WWE. On November 4th, it was reported that Frankie Monet was part of the WWE releases, the 7th round of layoffs due to the COVID-19 pandemic and, you know, the budget cuts, air quotes. Taya Valkyrie had been in the company for only 9 months. She hadn't even completed the calendar year. She was signed in 2021 and was released in 2021. Her first appearance was on the April 13th episode of NXT. Her last was on the October 4th episode. That's less than 6 months of TV time before she was gone from the company. Since being released though, Taya Valkyrie has gone back to her old name and has not missed a beat whatsoever. She's since returned to Impact Wrestling, where she's the current and a 2-time Knockouts Tag Team Champion with Jessica as part of the Death Dolls. She defeated Diona Peraza to win the AAA Reina de Reinas Championship, and she is the current and inaugural MLW Women's Featherweight Champion. She's doing very well for herself since leaving the WWE. Diona Peraza debuted in 2013 and mainly just wrestled across the independent scene. Her biggest appearances she made pre-WWE were for the likes of Ring of Honor, jobber appearances for TNA and Impact Wrestling, and she also wrestled for early GCW, being their women's champion, and had some appearances for Stardom in Japan. However, despite wrestling for some good named companies, she was never really the top woman or the top wrestler at whatever company she worked for. She was set to wrestle at the 2019 All-In event, which would have been a huge boost for her career, but she would get an even bigger boost when she was offered a WWE contract. Diona had done some work with WWE between 2014 and 2017, mainly just work as an extra, being a rosebud, and also the occasional match where she got squashed. Diona would sign her WWE contract and she would be pulled out of All In due to this signing, but this was her big break and she would get involved in the Mae Young Classic. In WWE's second annual Mae Young Classic, Diona Peraza was included as a contestant and she made it to the quarterfinals after defeating Xia Li and Priscilla Kelly, but she was knocked out. And from here, she did absolutely nothing. The only real big thing she did was challenged Rhea Ripley for the NXT UK Women's title, a match that she didn't really earn by winning any matches, she was just given it, and of course she lost. In fact, she lost every single broadcast match that she had after the Mae Young Classic. She had 2 matches in NXT UK and lost them both, and her entire NXT run, she lost every single match there. She also had some losses on the main roster. No, she wasn't called up, she was just called up every now and then to be used for a squash match. She was meant to debut a tag team with Chelsea Green titled VXT, but for some reason this never came about, and WWE just never had any plans for Diona, and she was simply used as a jobber for her entire time in WWE. She was released in the first round of budget cut releases from COVID, and since then has pretty much gone on to become, well, one of the best in the world. She's a 2-time Knockouts champion, having over a year combined reigns with the title. She's a Knockouts tag champ. Her and Chelsea Green finally got that VXT title run. A former Reina de Reinas champion. She won the Ring of Honor championship, and she's main evented AEW Dynamite, all since leaving WWE. She's at the top of her craft, she's in her prime, and she's one of my favourite wrestlers, and I don't think she necessarily needs WWE anymore, so what she does from here, we'll see. Willie Mack debuted in 2006, and he mainly started his career wrestling for small-time and regional indies. But his wrestling career would take the next necessary step when he would start making appearances for PWG in 2010. When Willie Mack started making appearances for PWG, it was between 2010 and 2014, which is pretty much the prime of PWG. PWG at this time was the premier destination for indie wrestling, and every show was just a supercard, and Willie Mack got very over in PWG. In September 2014 though, it was reported that Willie Mack had passed WWE's medical tests and would be signing with them, and he signed for WWE in 2014 and gave a big farewell speech in PWG to say goodbye to the fans before he left for the big times. And it was his big break. It was actually happening. It was official. No, apparently, it wasn't. Not too long after, it was revealed that Willie Mack had actually now been released from the WWE because a medical test found something wrong with his blood pressure and his knee. Willie Mack hadn't even flown out to Orlando yet. He hadn't even got ready. He hadn't even reported to the Performance Center. He was fired before he even started. While Willie Mack's knee was the reason for his release, Willie Mack also believes that he was released because around this time, WWE signed another African American wrestler with a better build than him. And who could he be talking about here? Well, it's none other than Apollo Crews, who signed for WWE after taking part in a tryout camp. He took part in this camp just a month after Willie Mack was signed to WWE, so the timing does make sense. Willie Mack, like I said, hadn't even gone to Orlando before being released, and this release left him homeless for a while. Thankfully though, he got back on his feet and is now wrestling in MLW following a run in Impact Wrestling that included an X Division title reign. That's it from me guys. If you enjoyed this video, then smash the like button. That was me talking about the WWE Rejects, talking about wrestlers who just got really done dirty in the WWE. If you have any ideas for videos, leave them down in the comments below. Like and subscribe with notifications on, and subscribe to the Wrestle Club channel, linked down below. What could it be? You'll find out soon. Anyway, I'll see you all soon. Goodbye, and keep on rolling.